Prep Sports Now. We are back another year, and I would give you the year number, but I'm not even sure what number year it is. I'm Case Kiefer alongside the high school football authority in Southern Nevada, Ray Brewer from Las Vegas Sun. Happy to come to you again, break down all the high school football action. Should be another great year. A bunch of state championship races. Week one already snuck up on us. So sorry for the later podcast than usual. Totally my fault. Ray's been fired up for this, and I've pushed us back a few times, but we're ready to go now. We'll go through all the week one games as usual. But first, do a little bit of an overlook on everything going on in high school football. Ray, just a few nights away now. What's standing out on, basically the eve of the season?
Has every season you've done the show Gorman won except 19 when Liberty won? Or were you here for the '08 season when McQueen beat Palo?
Yeah, I didn't look at it that way, but I am thinking I've only been here 1 year when Gorman was not the state champions, and that was, of course, Liberty. I came before the '09 season when Gorman started their run. That one was kind of fun going into the year at this time. There still was some debate. I think you didn't even pick Gorman to win the state championship, and I know you weren't alone. That wasn't calling you out. Several people weren't. But ever since then, it's kind of been a foregone conclusion, except for the year where Liberty snuck up and got them.
Yeah, and you were here for kind of the historic shift when I was telling you that Las Vegas was the team to beat, and we made Las Vegas as like the Los Angeles Rams, and we had them on a pedestal, and Liberty out just destroyed them. And one of the great Prep Sports Now motivational moments of all time.
What does that make? What does that make Liberty if the Rams are the?
Well, at the time, Vegas was the Rams.
Okay.
Right, and now Liberty to me is like if Gorman's Alabama.
Okay, yeah, I think this is a better. I don't think the Rams. I don't think historic powerhouse.
Okay,
they won the Super Bowl last year, and they've been okay. But
Gorman's Alabama. Does that make Liberty Georgia?
Yeah, I could see that's better. That's better than the Rams thing. And then Vegas, I don't know. You'd have to go back to a team that was
Vegas now. I
like
think
Texas or something that was really good. No,
I think Vegas would be in another league. Like,
okay,
they'd be like Toledo.
Okay,
right. A team that is good every now and then in the MAC.
All right. Well, we're getting a little bit closer,
but I don't even want to ask who Vandy is because then you would be forced.
Yeah, that would be mean. Yeah, it's a little convoluted. This isn't the second year we've gone through this, but I think last year was the big realignment after we missed the 2020 COVID year. So now we will be covering predominantly the top three classifications, right? 5A, 4A, and 3A. Teams split out all over. The 4A was awfully fun last year. Silverado emerged as state champions. It actually ended up being pretty lopsided. They won all their games by a lot, but at this time last year, I don't think either of us necessarily thought Silverado was a shoe-in. Gorman is going to be the favorite again at the 5A, followed by Liberty and some of those other teams. What about the 4A? What's the outlook this year?
Well, this time last year, I was raving about Shadow Ridge and saying this was Shadow Ridge's year to win, that they ran that misdirection offense, and they had a really talented tailback in Jaquez Holland, and the quarterback Cole Colome was good, and there's no way you could kind of slow that down. And I don't care who you're playing against. You only see it once. And for me, Shadow Ridge was the favorite. And then Silverado decided to throw the ball. And boy, were they darn good. We saw some stars emerge like Donovan Pellet and Brandon Tennell, the quarterback. And now Silverado is the unquestioned team to beat. I don't know if they're the Gorman of the 4A because you'd have to win multiple in a row. But in terms of the margin of victory, I think Silverado's in a class of its own. Of course, big time test on Friday night at Centennial, a 5A opponent. Silverado 12-0 last year, didn't lose a game, didn't play anybody in the 5A. Big time test Friday night against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that should be one to watch. Should be a fun game for sure. Centennial always up and down. It seems like in recent years they made the state championship, of course, 3 years back, then had a little bit of a rough year last year. So that should be a fun one. That really interests me that you say that, though. Not And I trust you. I take your word for it. But I figured maybe things would be a little more even wide open this year. That maybe Silverado blowing people out, that was a 1 year thing with the talent they had accrued. But it really is that they're in a tier of their own, even going into this season with all they've lost.
I mean, they've got the best player on the field, a good theory that you agree with, and Donovan Pellet. And I think that when push comes to shove, you get the ball to the guy in open space. But I mean, you've got a 4 year starting quarterback for Silverado. Surprisingly, the line is going to kind of dictate to them how they play. And usually they've got the best line in town, or a good line in town, or a big line, if you will. But I will be remiss if I don't mention that there's some other teams in the 4A who are going to be much improved. Of course, Shadow Ridge has got that sting of losing in the state championship game. They return the running back, they return the quarterback. They should again be in the Final Four. Teams that made the biggest jump. Everybody tells me the Basic is back. They're slinging the ball around. And if you remember, Basic kind of peaked at the end of last year. Last year was so odd where you didn't know who you'd have every week because of COVID testing. Games were getting canceled. It didn't feel like a regular season. It was more like we're happy we're getting to play after not playing, and the result was kind of secondary. As crazy as that sounds, right? And Basic kind of got hot there at the end. Remember, they beat Clark, and they had a heck of a great playoff game before they were getting eliminated. But the Wolves are back. They got some guys who could really, really, really go, like Marcellus Moore, Domingo Cleveland on the line, Trayson Reed, and they got a few sophomores that could go too, like Brandon Griffin. So I think the Wolfpack is a year away from being in the state game, because I think after Silverado loses Pellet and the Tennell brothers, I think Basic now becomes the team to beat, because Shadow's also going to graduate its tailback. And then, I got to bring up my kitty cats, CK.
And that was my question. The Mountain League is Basic, Vegas, Clark, who was really good last year, Del Sol, and Durango. Is it Basic and everyone else, or is it Basic and Vegas fighting for that top spot?
That Basic Vegas game is going to be fun. Andrew Bowen is back, a great wide receiver for the Wildcats. The sophomore Elijah Espinoza under center. And Chai Jones in the back defensive backfield. And I think my kitty cats are just doing it right. I love the program they run over there. A little bit of underrated, but this is a team that I still, if Shadow Ridge didn't have that great tailback, I might even have them above Shadow. But Shadow, I mean, how many times you have a senior tailback who's going into the years rushing for already has 4,000 or 5,000 career yards with missing a season. So I think the creme of the creme in the 4A is Silverado, Shadow, Basic, Vegas, and don't forget about the Cougars of Coronado.
I thought you were about to forget about them. They were my team last year, right?
Most confident team in America.
Yeah, I think Coronado belongs up in there. They had some really good performances last year. I remember hitching myself onto the back. I want to see the results for a couple weeks this year, though, before I just decide necessarily who I'm totally attaching to and is going to say is at the top there. But yeah, the Sky League has both Shadow Ridge and Coronado. Got to think they're probably at the top, and then fighting behind them, Spring Valley, who I know has a lot of talent this year. Sierra Vista, kind of ushering in a new era, and then we also have Mojave and Bonanza.
Yeah, my thing with Spring Valley, they've got Kelsey Howard, great defender going to Oregon State on the defensive line. He did everything last year: tackles, fumble returns, interceptions, but they struggle to score, man. And
you just told me best player on the field theory, though. They should win all the 1 or 2 games then, right?
That's a good theory, but I think there needs to be a little asterisk that says best offensive player, because the defensive player can't score. I mean, they couldn't score. This is the worst offensive season they've had.
But when you have your worst offensive season, it stands to reason. Things can't get much worse. You're going to get a little better on offense this year, right?
Yeah.
You would think they have some kids back.
That's a great theory. But I mean, still, yeah. I mean, they did have the dubious honor of losing 2 playoff games last year.
Oh, yeah. A forfeit?
Yeah.
Clark forfeited?
Clark forfeited, and then then they had to go be the sacrificial lamb, just losing to Silverado.
Yeah, that was a little rough. And Clark, I believe that if they didn't have to forfeit, it was their first playoff victory in
Since '93.
right. So that's pretty impressive. How are things looking at Clark? What do you think? Are they going to pick up where they left off, or is it going to be
You know what else happened in
tough?
'93?
What?
Come on, bro.
I don't know what you're getting
Shap
at.
Cowboys won state
Ah, there you go.
in soccer.
Wow, you're aging yourself.
You know,
It's your senior year, or
it was my senior year.
okay,
Yeah, '93. So third in the nation, USA Today.
yeah, that's pretty
Number 3.
impressive. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't really compete with that. That's pretty.
We
crazy.
were like the Bishop Gorman of the '90s.
Clearly,
Yeah, and so Clark's a team that lost. Back to your original question, it's primary ball handlers from last year. So be interesting to see what they get going and how they look and feel. But I mean, they had a winning record last year. They were just winning week after week. So foundation is there.
right. So we bounced around those two leagues. The other league, you've already established Silverado's in a tier of its own. Of course, they are going to be a big favorite in the Desert League. But you look around, I think there's reasons for optimism for a lot of these other teams. Sunrise Mountain, Coach Sawyer's one of our favorites, is back, and seems like he's already in rare form. He was cracking jokes and having everyone laughing at our media day, and he did great things there the first time. Your Cowboys, I know I can never count out. They should be tough. Desert Oasis put up a ton of points last year. You've also got Cimarron Memorial, who I was impressed with. I think they can be a threat at the 4A. And you round out that league with Cheyenne. Who do you see kind of slotting in there behind Silverado if we're going ahead and basically handing them the trophy?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that as our phone rings in the background, this is live podcasting, but I love my Shap Cowboys. They're the team of all favorite teams, and they've got a few guys that could go. It's tough when you're playing for second, but I love Bernardo Macias, Mitchell Diggs at wide receiver. They got some athletes over there. It's just a matter of kind of putting it all together.
Yeah, your words, not mine, but you said playing for second. So would you favor them to be the two there, or is it someone else?
I don't know if I'm ever going to favor them, but yeah, I picked them this week against Spring Valley. I don't want to give away my picks.
Oh, you just did.
But it's tough when you're going with your heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would think Desert Oasis lost its quarterback, right? So we have to see if they could keep up on that same level. I think my number 2 in the Desert, I know I just said I wasn't going to make many picks and try to get on board with someone prematurely, but I might be doing here. I think Cimarron from our media day had me convinced they might be the number 2 there. Am I crazy?
You're not. I mean, I think it's wide open. I think you can make a case for Cimarron. You can make a case for Shap. Another team we didn't bring up was Mojave.
I think Mojave's in the sky, apparently.
Okay. Well, no, they are, but there's a team with a lot of mystery, if you will.
Yeah, so it'll take a week or two to find out what we think about that. That's a look at the 4A. We only briefly mentioned the top league, the 5A, that we thought Gorman was going to win it. Probably a little less mystery in the 5A, though. I know these programs you're in tune with year-round. I still got to think it's Gorman 1, Liberty 2, probably Arborview 3, although it sounds like Arborview has quite a class this year. It sounds like Arborview might be one of the best Aggies teams ever. Do I have a good handle on at least the top 3? And then what's beyond that? And what are you looking for in the 5A?
Yeah, so Gorman is the team to beat. In fact, they're top 10 nationally by Max Preps. They've got a marquee game next Friday against Mater Dei. If they win that game, there's talk of them possibly being the mythical national champs. So wow. That's the level they're on.
I knew they were really good, so this isn't a Gorman slight, but I thought we were beyond the days where they were like top 10 nationally. I thought maybe like top 25. I know they're going to play national games, but how have they maintained this for so long? It's been a long time now. Why? I'm surprised to hear you say that they're that level.
Listen to this stat. This will blow your mind, bro.
Okay.
Of Gorman's 22 starters, right? That's 11 on offense and 11 on defense. 11 and 11 is 22. 20 of them have major scholarship offers.
Yeah, that's hard to compete with.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a running back, Will Stallings, who's going to Tennessee, right? They got one of the best players in the nation in Zachariah Branch at wide receiver, like world-class speed.
Related to Cliff Branch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Grandson or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, nephew, I think.
Nephew? Okay,
yeah.
something like
The entire secondary is loaded, right? You got Cody DeCabra, Oregon, Justin Wright, Georgia, Jeremiah Hughes, LSU. Secondary, LSU and Georgia.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty.
the SEC.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, and I think we're starting to see it now even more. In the NFL and college footballs, when you're going through these teams, there's so many Gorman guys that jump out. Of course, Speedy Naylor just played at Allegiant on Sunday. I know the Pac-12. There's some
Had a few
big time.
had a few catches.
Yeah, was back there for a punt. I don't think he ended up taking it. There you got the young Adunze kid at Washington, Oregon State, whose offense looks like it's going to be awesome this year with Lindsey. So a fun thing to watch, and it looks like it's not going to be stopping anytime soon. Even though, yeah, I got to be honest, I did not think they were quite at that level anymore, but clearly I was wrong. We'll see what Ray thinks of the Mater Dei game this week.
Next week.
Okay, next week. So you'll have to wait a week for that, but we'll see how that plays out. Arborview is stuck in their league, so that's going to be a tough regular season game. But otherwise, it's tough to see Arborview tripping up much. They have a lot on paper and should be a tough out.
Yeah, David Washington, wide receiver, is probably the top 2023 recruit in Las Vegas. He's the real deal. Defensive lineman Zarek Ashford going to Cal Berkeley. The quarterback Michael Kearns is from Desert Pines, who kind of rushed and passed for like $150 against them, $150 rushing and $150 passing last year for Desert Pines against Arborview. They've got a great 1-2 punch at running back with Makai Donaldson and Juice Washington. And Christian Thatcher is a sophomore linebacker, already has some offers. So, like I said, I think this is one of the better Arborview teams. But again, they got the beast in their league in Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, their quarterback comes over from Desert Pines, who Desert Pines always in that next group of teams. They kind of developed, I don't want to say a rivalry, but they've at least had some great games with Arborview over the years, and now switching sides, so to speak, a little strange. Where's Desert Pines slide into the conversation?
So Desert Pines, of course, has got some talented athletes at the skilled position, especially defensive back Isaiah Rubin, who's an underclassman. But they've got Malik Stinnett, Edgerrin Dean, some good players. Apparently, a really good freshman class led by a guy named Trey Jackson, who's going to get touches right away on day one. Marquise Roby is the quarterback; he's ready to go. Offensive line is led by David Potassi of the Potassi family. They've been around
still
forever.
Going.
Maybe a little thin up front for the Jags, but if it's 7-on-7, I like them against anybody.
Yeah, but we know we're not 7-on-7.
I know. So, and then, so the last week of the regular season, Liberty hosts Desert Pines. And there's a little rivalry there. Indirect.
I mean, has Desert Pines ever beaten them?
They might have.
At least they've beaten Arborview. They've gone back and forth, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is I really thought, and Morocco will disagree. And you might disagree too. So you guys obviously 2 is better than 1. I really thought the year they had Markel Grayson, Desert Pines had a chance to play with them.
That was many years ago at this point.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm not buying this rivalry. You got to show me you can. I mean, what?
Well, the Liberty's doing I think this is like the 20th year of Liberty football, or some random anniversary year.
Yeah.
But they're having all former players come back for the game. So it's going to be one of those nights that you want to circle on your calendar. Liberty's got some Jimmies and Joes, CK. Ethan Hilliard at wide receiver, Landon Bell at wide receiver, Tyree Smith, a junior quarterback who is going to be special. I think he's going to make a gigantic impact. And they got a UCLA commit, AJ, never going to say this last name, Funamano. Not even close.
I don't have it in front of me, so I'll take your word for it. I think you got it.
But I mean, I think the Patriots are going to be just as good. And listen to their schedule. They're playing at Texas. They're playing a team from Utah. They're playing a team from California. They're playing a team from Hawaii. Remind you anything?
I feel like they've beaten teams from all those states in their history, right?
You covered the Texas game. That was a fun night. Remember that?
They were in Texas, right?
Yeah, but you covered over the
Oh,
TV.
yeah, over like some weird live stream that I think it cut out part of the game or something.
But to me, I remember. Do you remember 2019? They couldn't get out of their way early in the season.
Yeah, I know they've had some rough stretches. They didn't win a single game, right?
They were like 0-5, but when they went to play Gorman, it wasn't that big of a stretch. The schedule this year for me, for Liberty, kind of mirrors what they did in 19 by playing all those rough games. I mean, obviously you want to win, but I just think getting the reps is what's important.
Yeah, that makes sense. They know the formula at this point, so they're going with it. Liberty, of course, is in the opposite side of Gorman, but not quite at the level of Gorman. I don't think they have 20 of 22 starters, like you said, with a high FBS scholarship offers, but still a lot of talent, even with what they lost, including Jeremy Bernard going to Michigan State. But I think it's a similar setup in the league, right? It's Liberty's going to be the one, and maybe we'll have some parity beyond that. We'll see how these teams slot in the spots behind them.
What do you think about my Foothill Falcons, my home school?
Well, they're in Gorman's side, right?
Yeah.
I remember last year. I'm expecting this is what I'm expecting as a 180 from you, because last year you picked against them every single week. Always talked about how they weren't very good, and they just kept winning. They were one of the best stories of last season, right? So you're going to reverse course and be on them this year?
No. I got a point I need to make here.
Okay.
They are playing Friday night at Austintown Fitch of Ohio.
Oh, wow. In Ohio?
Yeah.
Did not know.
It's like 20 minutes away from where my mom and dad grew up.
Oh, wow.
And my dad has been to that stadium multiple times. They get like 8,000, 9,000 people every Friday night. This is like town shuts down type of thing. It's a tough out for my Falcons.
Do you think the Ohio team's got an edge there?
I mean, even if there was not a person in the stands, just the travel alone, right? I mean, Gorman has gone to I think they went to Bergen, New Jersey at one point, and they left. You got to go across 3 time zones. You got to leave a few days ahead of time. You got to make an event of it. You just can't hop on a plane, get out and play.
Yeah, absolutely. But good for Foothill going to Ohio. I would have had no idea how'd that come together.
No idea.
Yeah,
no idea. But I'm all fired up. My dad's excited too.
Is he going to be there?
No, he leaves on. He leaves next week, so he's going to miss it.
Yeah, I know he's in Ohio a lot of the time, but that's your hometown team, so I'm expecting you to start picking them a few more times this year.
Yeah. In fact, Gabby's going to the Foothill soccer camp next Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Starting them young, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's Ray's daughter for the youth. I'm thinking who are these people talking about?
Yeah.
All right, so sounds like you're excited about Foothill. We talked about kind of all the powers, but who's looking to punch up into that group? I think we got the
Okay, so sorry to cut you off.
No, I go ahead.
It's like we were not even in the same. Okay, 2 teams that I'm curious about. Okay, Centennial, right? 1 win last year, had nobody who played varsity football at the start of the year, right? They graduated everybody, had a bunch of sophomores and juniors. Well, now they're 1 year into it. They've got some guys, Damari Wiggins, Ali Kamara, the linebacker, Victor Plukanoff, the linebacker. We covered his brother. Still couldn't say the last name. Nakari Shelton at wide receiver. Darius Zeno maybe. Can't say a name. I like it better when you're correcting me.
Well, I need to have the names in front of me. I don't have it.
I like it better. I'm saying all these kids' names.
I think Plotnikov you came pretty close on. That sounded about right. I think Zeno you might have had it right the first time. Just guessing.
So, but what I'm saying, CK, is that's why I really think that Centennial's got a chance to beat Silverado this week. I think this team is got a chance to be if you remember 19 and 2018, they were awful, right? 2019, they were all of a sudden good. Dustin Fortsy's a good coach. He's a builder. He's building. So I like the Bulldogs. I also, the Gators of Green Valley, they're going to have a good team.
New coach, right? New era.
New coach, new era. I mean, the guy elevated, continuing some of the same traditions, but they got a few guys that could go. Josiah Edwards, Freddie Rodriguez, Nate Richter is about as good looking as any high school football player we've seen in the history of prep sports now.
That's a little strange, but okay.
I mean, really built. So they got a chance. Got a quarterback transfer in. They lost the quarterback to San Diego, and they got a transfer in from Foothill. So gain one to lose one, and here we are.
Yeah, that should be fun. Green Valley, maybe that Centennial game will be one to watch. Also with new coaches like Green Valley, Legacy and Canyon Springs also starting fresh this year, right?
Yeah, Legacy. I thought last year a young kid is the head coach, graduate of Legacy, Zach Monticelli.
Oh, was it last year's first year?
First year.
Okay, so not this is the second year.
Really good job as a young coach. It's tough in that area to compete because Mojave, Canyon, Cheyenne, Legacy so close to each other. They're constantly taking each other's kids. It's like we should have like a North Las Vegas Bowl. Give it out, Henderson Bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
North Las Vegas Bowl.
Okay, so yeah, Monticelli, his second year. My fault. Also in his second year, while we're going through these 5A teams, is Mike Sanford at Faith Lutheran. Do you expect them to take any steps forward?
Yeah, I mean they run a good program over there. I really appreciate Mike and his staff. Of course, I know the quarterback Ryan Walter and his family real well from covering his dad Brett for so long. They got a few big guys up front: Gray Ryan, Clayton McCarroll, Peyton Steyer Wall probably said that wrong. Neo Brooks at wide receiver, as well as the sophomore Chance Brooks and Tico Pringle. They got a few young guys that could go as well. I didn't put Faith in our top 10, or we didn't put Faith in our top 10. Do you want to take any credit for that?
Controversial,
yeah.
Right? Are they one of the last teams out?
They were one of the last teams out, but they lost so many close games last year.
Yeah, so if they can reverse some of those, look for them to be a force. Another team I'm guessing didn't make our top 10, which would have been unheard of probably 10 years ago. Are my Palo Verde Panthers. They missed it too.
Palo missed it. Canyon missed it. The city's evolving, Case.
All right.
The city's evolving, my friend.
Well, give me the quick Palo Verde scouting report before we move on from the 5A.
Yeah, Palo Verde is a team that is going to play hard every week. We know that. Really tough to beat at home because they get such a great draw out there in Summerlin. And, Coach Azanera's guy's been at Palo about as long as we've been doing the show, and he really pours his heart, sweat, and tears into it. And they got a few guys, Donovan Bell at linebacker, Jake Fields, Crew Daniels, the sophomore quarterback, and of course Blair Thayer at running back. So they got a few Jimmies and Joes that could turn some heads. Obviously, big first night test coming up Friday night against the Patriots of Liberty High School.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Sophomore quarterback, though, that gets my ears perked up. Who knows? Maybe show some progress this year, and in a couple of years, maybe Palo's back kind of at the top of the town like they were back 10 years ago. Like I said, I know it's been a little bit rougher, and they're stuck in the 5A. It's this realignment. Yeah, this realignment. It's been great for some schools. Other schools, I feel like kind of got the raw end of the deal because that's how it's going to be no matter what. I feel like
probably 4 5A teams: Gorman, Liberty, Arbor, DP.
Yeah,
and maybe Green Valley. But why wouldn't Coronado, who's got more attendees and more resources, not be a 5A team?
Yeah,
right. I mean, and then there's a bunch of teams in the middle, and fortunately, some of them got pegged to be in the 4A to compete for a state title. Silverado, right? Then you got teams like Shap, Mojave, and Sunrise Mountain who are stuck in the 4A, right? They should be playing El Dorado and Rancho and Western. And, it's just what we should do, and nobody wants to listen to me because I don't know anything. We should get in a room, you and me, every year, the NIAA should hire us for a day. We'll do the leagues because we know who's going to be good and who's not going to be good. Right?
I still just think it's so impossible to put them. I still think it'd be impossible to get balance. I mean, there's just an imbalance in power.
There is.
No matter what. Like, it's never going to be whoever. You can't make a league with Gorman in it that's going to be fair, in my opinion. I guess Gorman and Liberty, maybe.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's just hard. There's just no way around it.
If Gorman had to play, you're into odds, right?
Okay, where are you going?
If Gorman had to play Liberty today, right now, right outside in the parking lot, what do you make the line?
Well, making it a little higher now. You told me they're a top 10 team in the nation and everything. Like over 4 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
30, something like that.
30.
Yeah.
What did you have it in 19?
I believe we talked about this on the podcast, and I think we came up somewhere like 19 to 21 or something.
Okay.
Because Gorman had some injuries. You were kind of saying they were vulnerable. I think I know I ended up picking Gorman, but
yeah,
it was a little bit lower. Yeah.
I think the difference that night was Gorman didn't score in the second half, but B, one of the rare times in Gorman since the Sanchez's came where they got pushed around up front. Like Liberty was the stronger and bigger team on the line that day.
Yeah, and that's going to be hard to see again this year, but we'll be tracking it all along. And leading up to that Gorman Liberty annual showdown at this point, we certainly think we'll see it again. What about before we get to the picks, we got to touch on the smaller schools, the 3A. Speaking of teams that can't get out of each other's way, Moapa and Virgin played at least twice last year, including in the state championship. Moapa Valley ultimately wins the state championship. Virgin was really tough, though. Can anyone else get in that mix this year, or is it Moapa Valley, Virgin Valley, and everyone else again?
Yeah, so Moapa's really young, but the general consensus is Coach Lewis will have them humming by the end of the year. Virgin, again, will be good. Virgin's got, Martin Jordan at fullback, Gunnar Cortez at quarterback, Coulter Crandall at tight end, Alex Valley at defensive end. So those guys are going to be ready to go. Of course, Moapa Valley young, but I can't remember this kid's name, and it's going to haunt me. Let me pull it up here real fast. This kid, when I saw this kid show up for media day, I'm like, boy, you're still eligible? Like, this kid felt to me like he's a fifth-year senior, like he got the COVID year. He's been there for so long. Landon Rosinski, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns last year. But a team that could sneak up into the equation, Slam Academy. Probably the best team in that school's brief history. They got a few guys, Donnell Colbert, Blaze McGee, Daniel Neville. So we'll see what happens with the Slam Academy. I don't even know their nickname. I think it might be the Mustangs. The Bulls. It's the Bulls.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right, so watch out for Slam. I know they did some good things last year as well, so that should be one to watch. Yeah, it's hard to pick against Moapa Valley with what they do year in and year out. It seems like even with a new team, maybe they take their lumps early, but should be right there at the end. Where I just know from our media day, we also had a couple of the new charter schools with familiar faces attend. How does what do we Somerset Losi and Matter East?
Yeah,
those the two to watch.
I think Matter East is a little bit ahead of Somerset Losi with Isola running the offense. He seems like he's fired up. One of those teams, I believe, is I don't think Matter's eligible for the playoffs, but Somerset with Dan Barnson is. They're going to be in the 3A. The whole charter school thing is going to change the way high school football looks and feels in about 5 years, because as more of these charters pop open, like Slam and Mater and Somerset, maybe they go to their own league. Anything goes there. You could recruit and do whatever. So, but I didn't pick any of those games because it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll try to monitor them on the podcast and talk about it. Anything else we missed from, I guess, the 3A or just anywhere before we pick this week 1 slate?
So we agree that Shap's going to take state.
No, I think I'm on. God, I hate to just be so basic, but how do you pick against Gorman and Silverado on the top two, and then even probably Moapa in the 3A, right?
I think they're going to be the best team locally, but my sources up in Lake Tahoe tell me,
Truckee.
yeah, my guy Keith has let me know that Lake Tahoe and Elko are supposed to be pretty good, and the general consensus is Moapa and Virgin are going to lose in the semis to those two teams, and it'll be an all North state game.
There's no way you would pick a North team to win state ever, though.
No, yeah. Even if Moapa would lose to a North team, I would report that they won.
All right. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out the North as well, but should be fun on all levels, and we'll keep tabs on them all year. But for now, let's get to the picks. You can find Brewers online. I think he posted them earlier this week. I'm going to just be going with the flow here, going with my gut on the picks. I'm going to listen to Brewers breakdown and make a decision from there. But yeah, you mentioned it first. Foothill is going to Ohio to play Austintown Finch.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, winning on the road's impossible. Especially we talked about the time zones. I got Foothill having a great experience, but not a good victory.
Yeah,
the Ohio team.
I got to go with the Ohio team, but I think maybe Foothill keeps it somewhat close. Could happen. Shadow Ridge at Durango. What do you think of that one?
First game of the year, Thursday night light game, and I know that the Mustangs of Shadow Ridge, they are hungry to make an impact. I think they're going to try to pitch a shutout, maybe run up the score, pound the rock. This is a team that wants to win state, and they're going to try to win state as quick as they can.
Didn't they win most games like 45-20 last year?
They
a shutout seems a little presumptuous.
Yeah, they had some problems defensively, to say the least.
I think they win this game, but I think that's disrespectful. Durango's going to go on TV and can't score a single point. I don't see it. I got Durango getting on the board.
But you got Shadow.
Yeah, but I got Shadow winning. But
that's the level.
Come on, a shutout? Okay. Nah. We're not going to see that. Seems like every year someone plays Orem from Utah, and this year it is Desert Pines' turn.
Yeah, I just think Desert Pines is so much better than Orem at the skilled positions. But I think Orem's going to wear them out with the run game. I watched Desert Pines last year in the Poly Classic play a team from Utah, and it was one of those where Desert Pines won the game, got a lot of turnovers, but wore out as the game wore on. Factor in the travel to Utah. I think that maybe DP would win this game if it was at DP, but it's not. It's in Utah, and I got Orem.
Yeah, feels like Orem usually wins these games. I really wanted to go differently than you and say DP, but maybe if it wasn't even week one, I just think you got to expect some growing pains. Maybe that's true with Orem too, but at least they get to play at home. DP going on the road. I think I'm going to lean with you and go with Orem.
And one other point here is that week one, we see a ton of mistakes, right? False starts, holding the whole 9 yards. Orem's already played a game.
Oh, Utah. I knew Utah usually started sooner. Well, yeah, I think that's a big advantage. Makes me stronger to say Orem. Bishop Gorman is hosting its own Utah versus Nevada game when they host Corner Canyon.
Yeah, so this for me is a appetizer for Gorman for next week's game against Modern Day. But I actually think this game is going to be closer than we think. Copper Canyon could sling it around. I know we raved about Gorman's secondary, Georgia, LSU, Oregon, but I think Corner Canyon's going to get. I call them Copper Canyon, I think, but I think Corner Canyon's going to put some points on the old board. Gorman still wins, but I think it's a 3-touchdown spread.
I mean, you keep saying those schools, it's going to convince me. I don't think it. I think they're barely going to score on Gorman. I got like 35-7 or something. I'm not seeing it. Those kids can deal with a passing attack. Right. I got Gorman in or out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just falling for your scouting report, but you've made Gorman sound awfully unbeatable today. So I think this one isn't close. Maybe next week against Modern Day would be a different story, but this one I think Gorman gets off to a good start. Basic at Desert Oasis.
Okay, so I'm all in on Basic this year. They're, from what I understand, from a reliable source, much improved, and I think they're going to come guns a-blazing.
Yeah, it's going to take Desert Oasis a few weeks to get the new kids rotated in, have them understand the system. I've got basic. Virgin Valley at El Dorado.
Okay, so we didn't mention Eldo earlier, but I love what they're doing. They're very active on Twitter, and I've seen some pictures from practice, and it looks like they're organized this year and they're made a step in the right direction. I love the Gallegos kid. What a competitor at quarterback. But come on, Virgin Valley is a machine, and I think Virgin Valley gets it done.
All right, yeah, I got Virgin Valley as well. I don't know if we're going to disagree on a single game at this rate. Probably not going to be this next one. Legacy at Sierra Vista.
Yeah, I think that Legacy's just in another class. They got a kid, McGirt, a wide receiver, who I think is going to have a great year. Fast, maybe a little undersized, but I got the Longhorns. And I got a high opinion of Monticelli.
All right, yeah, Legacy, you've sold me on that one. I've got the Longhorns as well. Slam Academy at Western. Man, you feel bad for Western, but it's just year in, year out. It seems like they're up against it. And with Slam looking like they're on the up this year, this probably isn't going to be a great start for them again this year.
God bless the Warriors.
Yep, Slam ×2 for us. Clark at Cheyenne. I'm kind of surprised by what I'm reading here when I'm reading your picks on LasVegasSun.com. Anyone have a coin? Wasn't Cheyenne like barely won a game last year, or am I misremembering? And Clark broke the playoff streak. Can we give the Chargers some respect?
So Cheyenne was historically bad last year. The pandemic didn't treat them well. They had a new coach. Nothing went well. If you remember, they had to call up a JV quarterback to start one game, and that quarterback was female. And, but this is Cheyenne. Cheyenne is, they're not quite Georgia, but at one point Cheyenne was beating Gorman and DeMarco Murray. And I just think that has a little credit to – I think this is going to be a close game. I don't know why. I know very little about Cheyenne. I know very little about Clark, but I sense this is going to be close. My humble opinion.
I sense it's not close, and Clark wins this one going away.
$5 bet.
For what?
Oh, I got Clark to win too. We got to set a line. Oh, screw it. Let's get to the next game. Okay.
Palo Verde at Liberty. I don't think we're going to disagree here. I think we're both going to have Liberty pretty big.
Yeah, Tyree Smith. He was a transfer kid who had to play JV last year. He's the real deal. Watch out.
Where did he transfer from?
Not sure.
Okay. I didn't know that was the rule. So you can still play JV, but you can't play varsity. Yeah. There's ways around it though, right?
No, if there's no open seats and you don't sell your house.
Oh, okay.
Like Liberty got to move in from Foothill, and the family actually sold house 1 and bought house 2. But
and then there's the kid that's going from Arbor to DP, right? Or
move if you move.
Okay, that's a move. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just learning the CCSD protocols here.
When your son's old enough, you'll be moving.
All right. Where are we at? Del Sol and Mojave.
Yeah, I didn't get a Del Sol game right last year. And I don't know if I'm going to get one right this year, but I think we're going to be in for a low-scoring, penalty-filled, turnover-filled battle, and I got the Rattlers.
Yeah, seems like the Rattlers probably in a little better spot than the Dragons going into the year. I'll go with the Rattlers as well. Snow Canyon from Utah is visiting Arborview. I like the Aggies.
I did too, and when I started, I was going to pick Snow Canyon because they played a game already. But I said, okay, Vegas Heat, advantage Arborview, home crowd, advantage Arborview, running game, 2-headed monster, advantage Arborview, and a 3rd-headed monster with the quarterback. David Washington, nobody could stop him, and I think they're going to try to get the kid the ball. Give me the Aggies, and this is a chance for them to say, okay, we are a team that could put a scare into a Liberty or a Gorman. So I think they make a statement.
All right. Yep. We're both on our review. Still looking for a game where we disagree. I actually don't think it's going to be this one, though. It does seem like you're tempted. Do you want to switch your pick and take Centennial? Centennial's got a good home field advantage up there so far north, a long trip for Silverado. I think you should go ahead and take the Bulldogs here.
Yeah, so this is one where when I initially wrote it out, CK, I did pick Centennial, but then I went back. And I went with Silverado. I mean, I just can't get that 12-0. And I mean, Donovan Pellet is getting recruited by Utah and Arizona. And I don't know if Centennial, which mind you, only won one game last year, not versed on winning versus the 12 wins for the Hawks.
Yeah, I just think Silverado, after what they did last year, I can't pick against them here, but maybe you've sold me. Maybe it'll be a little closer. I've got Silverado, though. Chaparral at Spring Valley.
I am a CHAPRILAL. Boom, boom.
I've got Spring Valley.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, Spring Valley, they're impressive.
They can't score.
They couldn't score last year. They're more experienced now, different team. Kelsey Howard.
He ain't gonna score. I mean, he might score 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, there you
for all we
go.
know. But I went with my heart. I was at Shap last Friday, played in that soccer alumni game. Best 8 minutes of the year. Got a nice T-shirt out of
The
it.
game lasts 8 minutes.
I played 8
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
I wanted some of the younger kids to get some runs.
Yeah.
So
How'd you guys do? What was the
it
score?
was actually 2-1 actives beat the alumni.
Uh,
When we started, it was guys like me going out and playing.
uh-huh.
And now that we're 5 or 6 years in, a new generation of graduates have emerged.
So there's a lot of younger.
21 to 24, they could still run.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
Has the alumni ever won?
No, they have not.
Never.
No,
Wow.
it was 2-1. 2-1.
Is that a goal of yours to be a part of a victory?
I could care less. I even left like a little in the second half. Gabby was there, my daughter, and had a great burger though off the grill. Nothing like a hot dog or hamburger off the grill.
All right, there you
Yeah.
go. Well, I think it's a good thing the varsity soccer team won because the varsity football team will be losing on Friday to the Grizzlies. This one's just unfair. I already said Coronado was my team last year. That's my school district, and I said I like Cimarron coming into this year. Why do they have to play in week one? This is a tough game for me.
Are you going to take your family up there? Try to get into the Cougar environment?
No, not quite.
Okay.
But
I think this
tempting.
is going to be a good game.
Yeah, if I was going to a game, this would be high on the list. I will say that.
I think this could be one of the games of the week. I just think Coronado might be slightly more ahead at this stage of the game.
Yeah, that's fair. Playing at home, I know we don't need to argue about that again, but maybe if it was at Cimarron, I might have a little more tempted to take the upset, but I'm going to go with Coronado, so we're the same there. Sunrise Mountain at Valley. Whoa, I was hoping maybe you picked Valley here, and now I saw your score, not even close.
Now, Chris Sawyers is a real football coach. He's going to make a huge difference over there, and I think they roll.
Yeah, I've got Sunrise Mountain. Arcadia from California is coming in to take on Canyon Springs.
Yeah, here's Quincy Birds went from Valley to Canyon to lead the Pioneers. Canyon Springs, we know, has always got guys that could go. I don't know much about this California team. Usually I pick California over Nevada, but this is not a powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination, and I got the Pioneers.
All right, that's enough for me to know to go with the Pioneers too. I'll take Canyon Springs. Arcadia, not exactly a powerhouse, but maybe it's a close game. That could be another good one. Reed coming down from Northern Nevada to take on Faith Lutheran. I'm kind of bullish on the Crusaders this year. I'm just going to put it out there. They deserved a better record than they had last year. I'm going to go with Faith.
There's no way I'm picking against Faith in this game.
All right, so you're on Faith as well. Could it be close though? Reed's had some good teams over the years.
The best team in Reno could come down and play the under 10 Green Valley Knights that DePuter's son is on, and I would take the under 10 Green Valley Knights.
DePuter's son, are the publisher of the Las Vegas Weekly. Didn't realize he had a 10-year-old son or whatever.
Yeah, I got him involved on the team, and we're interested to see how it turns out.
All right, well, we'll see. But now I'm such a veteran that I know how to correctly pronounce this. Hurricane, right?
Hurricane.
Or I just know there's not an E.
Yeah,
Hurricane?
Yeah.
Hurricane or hurricane, whatever. They're going to be spelled hurricane, however, is going to be rolling into Moapa Valley. I feel like this is an annual matchup. They play a lot.
And it's usually closer. Max Preps indicates, though, that Hurricane might be down this year. And I think this is a good game for Moapa Valley to get healthy.
Yeah, Moapa Valley usually starts slow, though. I think it's by design there as they start putting stuff in, break in some new kids. So I wouldn't be shocked if they struggle a little bit, but I'll go with your research and say Moapa Valley by a little bit.
Yeah, and hey, everyone, that kind of concludes the pick. Coaches, please text me your finals on Friday night so we could get the scores updated on the site. And Case, we wish them a safe and fun year.
Yep, have a great year. This is the first episode of Prep Sports Now. For Ray, I'm Case. Thanks for listening.